Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle, me, in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. And I know sometimes I repeat myself, but I think about that name, especially pertaining to the book I'm going to look at in this video. A new book to the series number 234. And sometimes I find these books because of the comments that come from the people who watch my videos. Sometimes it's references in books that I've been making books reviews on, books I've been reading. Sometimes it's because I'm watching somebody else's video and they're talking about this book or that person or this thing or whatever, and I go look it up. So the material comes from everywhere. And lately, it's been a very interesting series of book reviews I've been doing. The most recent one, Michael Hoffman, with the Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare. So let's see, it's December 2nd, 2018. Do you think psychological warfare is going on? Be honest. Is it subliminal? Is it designed so that people don't notice? But a lot of people have taken notice of some weird changes in our reality. I wanted to look this up before I started this video, but what percentage exactly of the people on earth are Christians, or come from Christian families and would be Christians today if it weren't for the social conditioning and propaganda of the last 50, 60 years? I suspect at least 25% of the world. What do you think? 30%? And serious Christians, of course, would be a much lower percent. But let's just say 25%. Okay, what percentage of the world are Islamic from the Prophet Muhammad? So everywhere from Turkey, the Middle East, Pakistan, a lot of Asia, and all over the world, sporadic, there are Islamic people. 25%? And then, of course, you have the Buddhist. 25%? The Hindus, 25%. So they're all four major religions, I believe we can all agree. But one religion in particular that seems to be controlling the whole planet behind this global world order has only a very small percent. Maybe 2%? 1%? How many people on the planet are Jewish? 1%? Less? It is common knowledge to a lot of people that that 1% or less does control a huge amount of the planet. That's a heck of a thing to say. Does that make me anti-Semitic? But wait a minute. They seem to be in cahoots or in control of. Who's controlling who is always a crazy question. Is it coming out of the Vatican, Israel, the Illuminati, the banks, secret societies, Freemasons? Who's at the top of the pyramid? Kings and queens, Rome, New York City, London, financial district? Who's on top of the pyramid? And they seem to be the same forces as the 1 or less percent of the Jewish people who seem to own most of the things in the world, control most of the things in the world. Is this a correct thing I am saying? Or is it incorrect? Or do people know? So anyways, this book review is going to be on an interesting book, and people ask me to look up certain things or I'm reading a book. And when I want to go find an old book like this, sometimes I can't buy it. It's too expensive. So I go online to PDF and I find it. Aleister Crowley's Hidden God. Aleister Crowley, The Hidden God, by Kenneth Grant. So, do a lot of people know who Aleister Crowley is? And I suspect a lot of common people out there, not into the occult and all these activities, probably really don't have a clue. Don't know that he was called the evilest man alive, bragging about rituals with children, sacrificing, sex, whatever. The Kabbalah, tarot cards, hidden magic, Satanism. So what do we know? And what's in this book? The Hidden God and Aleister Crowley. Should we look at that? By Kenneth Grant. So anyways, one of the common places I go to find these PDF books is on archive.org. Free, you can go there, it's on the bottom here. https://archive.org, and you'll find the slash or the search space there on the top, and you can type in Kenneth Grant or Aleister Crowley and the Hidden God right there. And you'll find the PDF, and you can download it to your computer and print it out in PDF like I do. So a great source to find some of the older books, the collectibles, and some more modern books. Somebody scanned them all PDF and many other formats. So there's no excuse not to be able to go get a book like this. But, and that's a huge but I'm about to say, be careful. When I talk about these topics, I am not trying to teach magic. I think people should avoid it at all cost. I don't know what you do when you get into magic. And when you look at this video, you might see some of that. So I have been saying in my videos on a regular basis that it appears, and a lot of people have said it, this is not just me, that they're trying to discredit or eliminate Christianity. Christianity is under attack. Does everybody agree with that? If you don't, leave a comment. Say, no, Rick, there's no attack on Christianity. I do know the Christians are being called haters because they're not going along with pansexualism. Do you know what pansexualism means? You know what pan means? There used to be an activity or something to do with Germany called Pan-Germany, and that's when Germany was trying to expand and take over more territories. It was growing. Poland, etc., Austria, Pan-Germany. It's going to pan out. So pansexualism is sex with anybody, anything, anywhere. Pansexualism. And of course, the Bible, one of the commandments, number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. And of course, they have thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet what other people wants. That's 6, 7, 8, and 9. 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 commandments. So anyways, I was checking my email today, and I said, aha, there's more evidence that they're trying to do away with Christianity and bring us this religion of the Jewish people. The 1% that controls most of the world. Even Prime Minister Sharon of Israel, in a heated argument in their Congress 10 or 11 days after 9/11, And the members of his parliament, Congress, whatever it is, were saying we can't keep doing what we're doing to the Palestinian people. America will step in and do something. And Prime Minister Sharon of Israel exclaimed and shouted, "Don't worry about America. We control America, and the Americans know it." 11 days, 10 days after 9/11. Do you believe him? And of course, in 1913, December 21st, the winter solstice, kind of an occult witchcraft holiday, by the way, the Illuminati and these Jewish bankster peoples, who controlled a lot of people in New York and even put Woodrow Wilson in office, they said that to the previous President Taft, who wouldn't go along with assisting them to obtain the Palestinians' land. So they said, don't worry, the next president will be our man. We will put him in there. We have the money and the power. And they did. Woodrow Wilson. A lot of this is common knowledge. So then they managed to take over the USA money supply, something they've been trying to do for 50 years after losing control of the USA money supply. Even attempted assassination on 3 or 4 presidents, killed 2 of them. So this 1% controls the world. The communists admitted in congressional hearings after World War I they were going to infiltrate and destroy Christianity from the inside. And with 9/11 and so much more destruction in the Middle East, we know they're destroying the Islamic people and their religions. That's 50% of the world. And of course, they control most of the world. They brought us wars, revolution in Russia and China, and wars in Korea and Vietnam, and so much more. Presidential assassinations in several countries in South America, Central America, and of course a couple in North America prior to taking over the Federal Reserve, creating the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, privately controlled and owned. So, you say, Rick, they're not trying to replace Christmas with something else, even though, if you go look it up, in Congress in the United States, they passed in secret something called Noahide laws. The laws of this 1% or less of the people of the world who control most everything, including the banking system. So, of course, if they control it, they can make it sink like a rock. They can crash the stock market. They can cause the savings and loan scandals, the 2008 stock market collapse, the Great Depression. And they were causing this all over the world. A lot of people are short-sighted or are not paying attention to what's going on in Argentina or Italy or Turkey or Greece or Spain or wherever. The hardships going on in Venezuela. They're just looking around their neighborhood. And it keeps them pretty busy. They don't have time to see the big picture. But the big picture is changing. Somebody's causing a lot of things to happen, and apparently it's going to continue, probably accelerate into a big explosion like 9/11. Like Pearl Harbor. So anyways, I was checking my email, and I said, oh my. Yahoo email, look at that, the menorah. The 1% or less of the population's sacred symbol. Check in my email, Yahoo. I thought that was kind of ironic. Yahoo! Menorah! I don't see a cross there. I can look up on the internet and find that the cross is offensive to Jews. Well, back then, some of the Jews were accused of having Jesus Christ the Savior, the spiritual entity sent from God to teach mankind, give us a message. And he was crucified. That's not the king those Jews back then wanted. And not all Jews were involved in this. Not all Jews are into the Kabbalah, the Zohar, the occult, alchemy, etc. The different names. It's all one and the same. This is one of the religious symbols. It's on the top of the Yahoo page. All kinds of other stuff in the news, like the new Mexican president vows to end the rapacious elite. So they're playing with us. They're either attacking the elite or they're attacking the people, like global warming, global cooling, climate change. We, the people, are at fault, they say. We're causing this excessive amount of CO2 to get into the air. Although the climate has been going up and down for thousands and thousands of years, according to the ice core samples and other evidence, even written evidence, documented periods of migrations of people. So anyways, these 1%ers, their holiday symbol is on Yahoo. The 1%. And there are other crazy symbols I've been seeing. I showed you these pictures on a previous video. But apparently at the Denver airport, some weird posters or signs, billboards are put up with the all-seeing eye. Construction or cover-up. I believe they're mocking us. Denver airport. You land on the plane, you're going there to take off, you see these billboards. Do people stop and think and say, why? Why would the 9-candlestick menorah be right under the Yahoo icon? Why would these billboards be at the Denver airport? Yes, Den's got some secrets. Look at that little symbol on the bottom. Look at that entity. Katy Perry in one of her, the Super Bowl halftime show or the Emmys event with the dark horse, Katy Perry, all-seeing eye, the circle, the star, the witch's symbol, Denver airport. What's with all these symbols? Denver airport, even the Freemason symbol there. Denver airport, it says it right on there. And the Freemason symbol. And apparently the Freemasons have been building all these models of King Solomon's temple and are definitely connected to the 1% of the people who seemingly control the planet. Not the 25% of the Christians, or the 25% of the Islamic people, or the 25% of the Buddhists, or the 25% of the Hindu people, etc. But the 1%. And the 1% has had problems for a couple thousand years where they had no country after apparently God caused them to be dispersed all over the world. Was it God, or are they blaming us? Is there a day of reckoning coming, a day of revenge? I know that's why they had the Russian Revolution and murdered 25 million, some say 100 million Christians and other good people, and destroyed the Christian churches, not the Jewish temples. It was for revenge after 100 years of being policed because of some of the activities they were doing. Again, for 2,000 years, 90, 100 different countries exiled, banished, persecuted, prosecuted, massacred the Jewish people. You have to ask why. And these people are about to come into possession of the entire world. Their religion's going to be the main religion. It's fulfilling some kind of biblical prophecy. Again, tell me where I'm wrong. Why would a picture like this be at the Denver airport? That could be your little girl, your brother, your sister's little girl, your best friend's little girl. What are they trying to tell us? Should we listen? Diversity. Remember, whatever they're trying to preach and teach is obviously not for the betterment of mankind. Apparently, there's a huge revenge event about to take place with this global world order, like the Hunger Games movie version. Just asking these crazy questions. Who, what is behind all this? So I've been making some interesting videos talking about several different topics. You can go look up these billboards at the Denver airport, read the posters. There's a reptilian. I guess that would be a serpent. Wait a minute. A serpent, you say? Adding amazing new restaurants and bars. Building an Illuminati headquarters. That's what it says on this card. Remodeling the lizard's people's lair. Apparently, Denver Airport has a huge city underneath it. And apparently, whenever the apocalyptic event happens, Armageddon, the world destruction, the elite have plans to go into that city. And I think there's several of them all over the world. I've made videos and talked about those topics. Denver Airport. Little gargoyle monster in a briefcase. Are we thinking? Should we be thinking? If we are thinking, what do these things tell us? All right, moving on. So I again say, we all can probably agree there are some things going on, and a lot of people are probably unsure what they are and don't know what to believe. And I can understand that. The social conditioning, mind control programming, re-education, or whatever, has been going along a long time. The deception, deceiving, rewriting of history, cover-ups. So they have all this crazy stuff going on at Denver Airport. And it does seem to have a biblical connection with the dark horse. Read Revelation. What does this picture tell you? If you're honest with yourself, is this something that makes you think of the near future, of World War III, of a global world order? Have all the things that they've been doing altered the consciousness of you and me and everybody else? Are we impervious to the reaction of these things, these symbols, these images, these actions they put out there for us? Super Bowl halftime shows, Madonna with the horns, all the rituals, the children in the coffins, the people, the death, the mourning, the sorrow. It does make you wonder. Look at the big boot stomping the world. The death, the destruction. So what do you think? Nothing to worry about, Rick. Go back to sleep. So anyways, I was reading this material. Kenneth Grant's, I guess, analysis of a book that Aleister Crowley wrote, or his teaching about a hidden God. Should we discuss or want to know who this hidden God? And again, what does it have to do with Zion? The Zionists, the 1% who are controlling the world right now, controlling the United Nations, controlling the American politicians, controlling the American banking system, eliminating Christianity, or attempting to, and bringing us this new religion of less than 1% of the planet. People who have been having problems for 2,000, 3,000 years with the diaspora. And now they have their country, the state of Israel, since 1946. Apparently, in one of the press releases or pieces of news I obtained, President Donald Trump recently did something so they could obtain $20 billion in 2018. And apparently they've been getting plus or minus that much money every year since 46. And what has that money have been used for? It seems it's been used to destroy nations all over the planet, to consolidate everything and bring us this new age with the destruction of Christianity and this new world order, globalism, and using tools from the United Nations, false flags and accusations that we humans are causing global warming, global cooling, climate change, terrorism, pollution, overpopulation. They have plagues and viruses and all kinds of other things, polluting the water, polluting the food, polluting the air, dumping chemicals in the sky, installing all kinds of technological weapons, weaponizing microwaves, directed energy beams, laser beams, artificial intelligence, monitoring system, facial recognition systems, a little device called Echo and other names that can listen to everything that you say in your house. Smart meters, smart refrigerators, smart cars, smartphones. It is going to get weirder and weirder. And apparently, the only weapon I see that we have is awareness, is having control over your own mind. Just say no, like their war on drugs, or their war on terror, or their war on you and me right now. We're producing too much CO2. USA, Georgia, they have the guidestones that say they want 500 million people worldwide, so I suppose 6 billion have to go. And I can understand that, if you're these elites. We don't need to feed 6 billion people. We have a utopia we're going to build. The rising of the phoenix. And everything goes up in flames so the new phoenix, the new world can be born. But we don't need to have the burdensome of too many deer in the forest. We've got to cull the herd. It makes sense from their perspective. Of course, it's not going to be good for we the people, with this for biblical fulfillment of an antichrist entity taking charge of the planet, eventually ending in the entire destruction of the planet and Armageddon, and then the second coming of Jesus Christ. But first, they got to bring all this about. That's not me saying that. That's prophecy. A lot of people know this stuff in all the different religions. So anyways, The Hidden God, Aleister Crowley by Kenneth Grant. Let me read a little bit from this and throw in my 2 cents. Introduction. This book contains a critical study of Aleister Crowley's system, and pay attention to these key words, of sexual magic and its affinities with the ancient tantric rites of Kali, Shiva, Kali, the goddess of destruction. They put the big image of Kali on the projected onto the Empire State Building. Go look up those pictures. Why did they do that? Unless what's in this book here and all this other material I've been going over apparently is true. The dark forces are in control and are showing us everything with those images even at the Denver airport and all the other stuff I talk about. The tantric rites of Kali, the dark goddess of blood and dissolution, represented in Crowley's cult as the Scarlet Woman. The Scarlet Woman. What is that? It is an attempt to supply a key to the work of an adept, an initiate into one of these secret societies, these secret cults all over the world. They have to swear under threat of death not to disclose what they're taught or their goings-on to the rest of us. They call the rest of us profane. FYI. The key to the work of an adept whose vast knowledge of occultism was unsurpassed by any previous Western authority. I have emphasized the similarity between Crowley's cult of Thelma, I need to look into that, and Tantra, because the present wave of interest in the tantric system makes it probable that readers will be able to assess more fully the importance of Crowley's contribution to occultism in general and to the magical path in particular. Is that concerning? As a result of many years' research into obscure phases of occultism, I have evolved a method of dream control for contacting extraterrestrial and non-human entities. Wow, we saw those pictures at the Denver airport, that green being. So he's developed a system for contacting extraterrestrial and non-human entities. This forms the substance of chapters 6 and 7. This method is described in relation to the mysteries of the Kundalini. So a lot of people are into the New Age and raising their consciousness, going into a trance, maybe taking ayahuasca, a peyote, or another drug, or getting hypnotized. So you can connect to this higher dimension or lower dimension. But apparently it's supposed to be quite ecstatic, cause quite an emotion, a connection. The supreme magical power symbolized by the sleeping fire snake at the base of the spine. The sleeping fire snake at the base of the spine. And again, I'm not trying to teach magic or encourage people to get into this. I just would like people to be aware of what they want you to get into. And if you know who controls the world and you've seen what they've done, like World War I, World War II, 9/11, and a lot of other death and economic destruction and suffering, we shouldn't be doing what they want us to do. But then again, a lot of people are zombie-like, sheeple. They don't want to know the truth. That they are spiritual beings, and apparently they're being mind controlled and mesmerized and deceived and controlled. After its awakening, activates a subtle power zones in the human body. Aleister Crowley, Austin Spare, Dion Fortune, and the German occultist Eugen Grosch were among the first adepts in the West to teach the use of the psychosexual energies, the Ophidian current that informed the most ancient arcana of Africa and the Far East. Although it was Crowley's who first integrated this current with the Western esoteric tradition, this was not achieved without some doubtful interpretations of Oriental symbolism. This was inevitable because it was not until the last years of Crowley's life that certain secret knowledge pertaining to the Tantric Vima Marg made possible a fuller understanding of the Book of the Law. So I've just mentioned the Book of the Law, Aleister Crowley, Dion Fortune, another one of the characters. So I'm going to look at a couple books here in a second. The Ultimate Repository of Magical Formula and the Grimoire of the New Eon or Era, the New Age, which had its inaugurated in 1904 when Crowley received and transmitted it. So Crowley was using his rituals to communicate with the another dimension. I don't want to call it a higher dimension. Probably the lower domain, Hades, the underworld they call it. I've been learning as I go here. So he received in 1904 and transmitted it and put it in the form of books I have therefore endeavored to correct errors of interpretation in order to diminish the dangers naturally concomitant upon the use of this current. So apparently, just like the current of electricity when you plug something into the wall, plugging into this other energy through these rituals, evocation, tantras, mantras, abracadabra, whatever, drugs, peyote, ayahuasca, connecting to this other world, communicating with other beings. He's trying to show how to do it correctly so you can diminish the dangers naturally concomitant upon the use of this current. So that should concern anybody. Don't try to get into this magic. Chapter 10 summarizes information about the mystical tradition concerning the influx of cosmic energy from a trans-plutonic power zone known as the initiates of New Isis. New Isis. And we all hear about the threat of ISIS. Again, they're playing with our minds. The Book of the Law contains veiled references to this mystery, for the transmission of which I once founded a dependent lodge, or the OTO, the Order of Thelma, or something like that. I've got a long ways to go to continue studying this stuff and trying to rationalize it, but it appears there's a lot of cause here to give us concern. The new symbols at this time of year for the Jewish religion should make one think twice. Even on 2 Christmases ago, on one of the big shopping stores, the 7 candlestick menorah was right on the front door glass, several of them. But I looked around, I didn't see any Christian symbols. And of course, we know what they did after 9/11 to the Islamic peoples. So there's 50% of the people under attack, the Christians and the Islamic. And of course, we know about the revolution in China, where maybe 100 million people were killed, and Vietnam, and Korea, and so much more. So apparently the Buddhists and the Hindus are not escaping the attack either. A constructive study of Crowley's magic unavoidably involves discussion of the actual techniques. As this book is not designed as a manual of practical magic, the reader is cautioned against the very real danger of attempting to use any of the methods it describes. So this author, Kenneth Grant, gave that warning. So I'm going to go back into this book. I've been reading it for the last week or so while I was on my trip, and read from this section called The Scarlet Woman. But I wanted to read that introduction and look at a couple books here. But one in particular, it mentioned Dion Fortune, and I made a video on her book. Probably need to get another one of her books. And this one is interesting. Psychic Self-Defense. Series 14 in my series, you can go watch, Freemasonry and Satanism. So why would one of these people this high up into the occult, Dion Fortune, mentioned here, apparently somebody who knows about occultism and magic, i.e. I call witchcraft, so we can understand it, because anybody using all these natural sciences and communication with fallen angels or demons or beings to their advantage and disadvantage to the rest of us, I call black magic, witchcraft. What else are you going to call it? But anyway, so she writes a book called Psychic Self-Defense. So that's pretty much a self-explanatory thing there. Why would she write a book, Psychic Self-Defense? Apparently, if you get into the occult and you start going into this other world, whether it's just a non-physical thing, your body goes into a trance, and your spirit leaves your body, or somehow you connect your silver cord in the top of your head through the chakra systems, doing these different rituals to the other world, causing the kundalini, the serpent, to rise within you. apparently it's quite dangerous. And even the books I've gone over, Tim Rifat or David Morehouse, on psychic remote viewing, the government is training people to spy for them, or even maybe look into the past or the future, or get information like the prophets did and the psychics did. Series number 10 and series number 6 of mine, Tim Rifat, the remote viewer for the government, David Morehouse, the remote viewer for the government, Jim Mars, who writes about the remote viewing, and so many others. And I need to go back and read some other books on remote viewing by other authors. So can we really leave our bodies and see this other world? And of course, I made the book review on Carlos Castaneda, A Separate Reality, and Max Long, the Hawaiian Kahunas. Max Long is series 138. And I talked about the Rosicrucian, series 140. And I talked a lot about, and I've been re-releasing the videos on the channeled material. So it does seem that there's some connections to all of this, and they're trying to tell us getting into occultism is dangerous. And apparently it's going to be the new religion of the world, and involves a serpent being, and apparently the underworld. And apparently it's the religion of these Kabbalists, and the Encyclopedia Judaica say traditionally that was the Jewish people's culture or religion. And the Kabbalah is equated with the alchemy, the Hermetic teachings, witchcraft, all this mystery Babylon religion, and so much more. Forget some of the words sometimes. But I think you've got it. So anyways, 2 other books I have here. As usual, I have so much material, I rarely get too much done with the book I want to read from, but you can find it free on archive.org I showed you earlier. But here's something interesting, one of Aleister Crowley's books, Tarot Divination, Tarot Cards. And strangely enough, I went to a concert last night, a well-known musician in my area, and she was selling some t-shirts with the pyramid on it, like you see here on this picture, and the all-seeing eye. And I was told she was studying reading tarot cards. So she has t-shirts with the all-seeing eye. And it's a popular musician in my town. So this social conditioning with the music and the t-shirts and the symbols and the lyrics and everything else, and the destruction and discrediting of Christianity, and the promotion and the symbols of the Kabbalah or the Jewish religion and the menorah, it's all real. Make no mistake about it. So anyways, I did look at the first page of this, not that I'm going over this book. But the first thing I noticed when I turned the page into this book on the tarot cards, notice the rainbow colors, the rainbow coalition, rainbow agenda. You can see the connections. So I saw this. Do you know what that is? The Crux Arcana, or an Ankh. And it's pretty clear what it means. The T means divine. The circle means the serpent, the divine serpent. And if you look at the symbols, you can see a lot of the Kabbalah, the Zohar, alchemy, witchcraft, etc. So the divine serpent, that should tell us something. Anyways, it says here, a description of the cards of the tarot. HRU, the great angel. I highlighted it. HRU, the great angel. So you got tarot cards connected with the great angel, and apparently connected with the divine serpent. set over the operations of the secret wisdom consist of the crux ansata, which is a form of the rosy cross, the Rosicrucians, connected with the Freemasons, connected with the Illuminati, connected with the same groups that negotiated with governments, bringing us World War I, World War II, 9/11, so that the new state of Israel could be created, and apparently is destined to control the world through Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And apparently, recently, President Donald Trump said the United States recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So all this is coming about. So anyways, I was reading in this book, just the cover page here, the Crux Ansata, the HRU, the Great Angel, and the second page. The third is yellow, the Aquarius and the dagger in violet. The last is in the fourth colors of Malkuth, with Pentacle and Taurus in black. So I looked up Malkuth, and I looked up this HRU angel, and I wanted to show it. I have these documents moved around here. But here's Malkuth, and this helped me understand a little more when I talk about the underworld. So it's in the book on the tarot cards by Aleister Crowley, mentioning Malkuth. So who is Malkuth? Where would they be getting this information about the tarot cards to do readings about people, astrology, whatever? Malkuth. So you can see the Sephirat, the tree of life, in the center of this video, with the circles on the bottom going up. It took me a while to figure that out. But apparently it's different levels of consciousness or different dimensions where entities live. And apparently the bottom of the tree of life, or the Sephirat, is the lower domain, the underworld. We've seen this in even the Hercules TV movies and programs. They talk about the underworld and hell and Hades and demons. A lot of people are consciously aware that this is something that's been part of human history, this underworld. How real is it? But anyways, so in Aleister Crowley's book, it mentions the Malkuth. And I was looking at these pictures, and they kind of gave me an idea of what the Malkuth was. It's the bottom dimension on that tree of life. And notice all the animated characters you like in the kids' cartoons we see right now. I have a suspicion from accumulating a lot of information that those animated cartoons are meant to target the children and people. And you can see the tree of life here with the serpents in it on the center of this video. So Malkuth is the lower dimension on the tree of life, which is the basis of the Kabbalah and alchemy, apparently this mystery Babylonian religion, and the general religion historically, according to the Encyclopedia of the Jewish People. If you ever wanted to figure out what the Jewish religion was all about, I wanted to know. If they're going to destroy Christianity and force the rest of us to swear allegiance to this underworld deity, we ought to know who it is and what it's all about, don't you think? So you can go look up Malkuth. You can click any one of these images. Does that make you feel good? Does that look like the cover of some local rock and roll band? The animated characters, the serpents, people in your downtown city park tonight, the zombie selfie commercials on TV. Alchemy, Kabbalah, Zohar, Mystery Babylon, witchcraft, secret societies, Zionism, New World religion, New World order. Takes a while to figure it out. So the other word I looked up, I have all these documents and books all over my desk. So sometimes when I'm going on with my video, I got to look around and see where they are. But the other one I looked up in Aleister Crowley's book on the tarot cards was the Great Angel, HUA. And again, we talk about the animated characters. I found a Yahoo image site, and I clicked on a couple of the images and went to the website. Quite interesting. In Germany, they have this forest, I guess is the Eldera. So they have like the Black Forest in Germany, some kind of enchanted, mysterious thing. But they have these animated characters in Germany showing us these HUA angels. And some of them actually have horns. So we are talking about the underworld. And if you've been watching the kids watch cartoons with animated characters, these kind of resemble a lot of what we see. So they have infiltrated the homes of we the people. And they are getting these messages and social conditioning, mind control of the children. Another picture, Yahoo image site, were these two men who apparently had tattoos. And you notice a lot of people get these tattoos with the wings and the naked women. This would be under the angel, the great angel, apparently not an angelic from heaven type of character. But a lot of people are getting the tattoos. So you can look up Angel, HUA, or Malkuth and see these images and review and peruse the websites and kind of get a picture of what this stuff is talking about, connecting it to the book of the Aleister Crowley's tarot cards. And also, I did make a video on this book, maybe two, I'm not sure. If you just type in Freemasonry and Satanism book review 23, I write on the back of all my books the series numbers, and they're in these bookcases. These are the series since 201 on the far side here, and 232 right here this year. And over here I have two long shelves about 10 feet long with the first 100 books for series 1 to 100. And the second shelf from series 101 to 200. So I'm working on the third 100 books. And this particular book I'm going to read from, and I've been reading from, is series number 234. So I did make a video on this, and even when I made a video on this, I showed all the ritual words. I did not say them. And it warns you in this book also not to say those magical words. You could very likely open up a portal to demonic entities. That's important to know. The Book of the Law, Aleister Crowley, known as the evilest man alive. Apparently he was communicating with his mantras and ritual sexual magic and sacrificial magic. with these beings. Look like gray aliens. So I try not to leave any stone unturned. I look into every dark corner trying to find out, get a clear picture of what's up. I do not want to study magic. I'll take the other approach and talk to God directly. I don't need to be part of the dark underworld. I caution anybody else not to be. To not do it. Don't do it. Say no, no, no. Be a strong person. A couple other little things here I noticed I wanted to talk about that I talked about in my last video. But I mentioned there are websites you can go look at and see the nuclear radiation activity in the sky in the United States. The dark red indicates dangerous situation on this map. The darkest red and black. So if you live in any of those areas today, this is a reading for today. So were you warned? If you live anywhere in the Northeast or looks like Mississippi River area, some high counts on the Sirius West Coast and maybe around Oklahoma City, but really bad 4 or 5 red and black. And red and black, as you can see here, is concern watch. And the website is here on the bottom. www.netc.com. Nuclear Energy, Nuclear Emergency Tracking Center. That's all the information. Just an FYI. Do you want to know? You know, you might be feeling ill 2 weeks from now, and you'll go, what caused that? I felt like I was going to die. If you paid attention to this, you might have been hit with a huge wave of radioactivity energies from a leaky nuclear power plant, or who knows, maybe even intentional. They're doing all kinds of crazy things, maybe sprayed from the sky. Maybe they found a new use for the nuclear waste. Just saying. So in the stuff I've been reading and the stuff I'm about to read, it does seem that the underworld, the beings, Satan, if you want to call them that, Kronos, Demiurge, I talked about that. These beings are controlling our planet Earth. And I did mention something in the last video, and so I went and looked it up while I was on the Yahoo image site. I put on there, Satan offers Jesus all the kingdoms. You can look this up. It's in the Bible, but a lot of people haven't been taught the Bible. A lot of young people. Satan offers Jesus the kingdom. That would be planet Earth. So there's all the pictures of Satan offering planet Earth to Jesus. Again, just to get a clear idea of what we're dealing with, so that everything makes sense. Here you see Jesus and Satan in a struggle. So when you see the menorah symbols and the 1% apparently into some Kabbalistic alchemy witchcraft religion trying to destroy Christianity, metaphorically, this is what you can see what is happening, the fight between the two. And you can look this up in the Bible. You can go to the Yahoo image site, see these pictures, click the picture. It'll take you to the link where the Yahoo image people got them. And you can see the picture in the center of this video of Jesus and apparently a devil-type character, Satan. And you see the two beings fighting in the air, the serpent and the angel. God versus Satan. Just saying, do you want to know what's going on? From this perspective, I didn't have these kinds of clues. I just keep rolling along in my investigation, finding what I find and looking into it, reporting what I see. So, they don't report the nuclear radiation to us when it's dangerous and all kinds of other things, and we seem to be under attack. Seems like they want to depopulate the planet. So while I was on the Yahoo image site, I mentioned something else, so I thought I'd go verify it and show it. But I typed in the Lord's Prayer. You can go to Yahoo image site, type in the Lord's Prayer, and you'll find all kinds of copies of the Lord's Prayer. Not very long. Again, a lot of people are not taught religion anymore, so they don't know. So upon examination of the Lord's Prayer, knowing, so it seems, that the underworld is controlling Earth, two of the sentences in the prayer say this: and lead us not into temptation. So we're always tempted 24/7. 7 days a week, every week of the month, every year of our lives, some kind of forces are tempting us. So it seems. I never thought about it from this perspective, but it says it in the Lord's Prayer. And lead us not into temptation. And the next line, but deliver us from evil. So to deliver us from evil, we must be in evil. And apparently, Jesus said, he who believes in me shall be saved. And apparently, during the times of tribulation, at the end times, a lot of people are going to be persecuted, threatened with death, to try to turn towards the dark side, to join the underworld, to swear allegiance to this Lucifer, satanic, Chronos, demiurge, antichrist entity. Tell me where I'm wrong. So when you read these prayers and the commandments from the different books, they kind of vary slightly. So now I can look at this, the Scarlet Woman in Kenneth Grant's Aleister Crowley and the Hidden God. So if you've been listening to me, you kind of have a clue who the hidden God might be, what all these new religious symbols are, and the Noahide laws. So apparently this new religion is going to say that Jesus is not the man, not the Savior. And apparently to the Noahide laws passed secretly in the United States, and I suspect passed secretly in other countries, you'll be accused of being a heretic or heresy for believing in a false God. Because when this Antichrist comes on the scene, he's going to be acknowledged by the people who control our planet as the real God. And all the other gods are gone. And this new religion, this new world order, this globalism, this cashless society where people are microchipped and monitored, facial recognition, AI, artificial intelligence, weaponized microwaves, HARP transmitters, and so much more, permeate every aspect of our reality. It's going to be quite the bizarre place to be, if this is all true, don't you think? But first, they got to take us down in flames. The rising of the phoenix, bursting into flames. So the new world and the new phoenix can rise. This is a book about the Vietnam War and all that destructions and the purposes and the things that were going on. The Phoenix program. So I use this picture in this book as an example of just one example of all the destructive activities that have been going on for the last few hundred years. And probably, like some people say, forever. So when we're born on Earth, even if it was 300 years ago, and we lived out 70, 80, 90 years, and we left this planet, we were sent to a place that had perpetual temptation, and we had a choice to make. Apparently, the spiritual world makes sure that everybody is aware of the rules and the teachings. That's why if you take a comparative religious course in college, you'll find out that the commandments for all the religions all over the world are quite similar. So apparently the teachings from the spiritual world is not different. Just a thought. Over the years, I've discussed these things with people, friends of mine, new acquaintances, and I've had some interesting reactions. Even family members, friends scream at me, get angry at me. Aleister Crowley, he's a good guy. I love his teachings. And Lucifer, he's misunderstood. Jesus or God are actually the evil forces. This is what people believe. What are you going to do when you live in a world, apparently, where you have to pray, lead me not into temptation and deliver me from evil, when people don't know? When evil seems to be normal and good is accused of being evil and needs to be destroyed. How crazy will it be? So let me read from the Kenneth Grant's book about Aleister Crowley and the hidden God. See what you think. And again, once you learn and you kind of know what the truth is, don't go out there and try to study this black magic unless you want to be doomed to the underworld. Word of caution. Even that one book, Psychic Self-Defense, and all the other books I've been talking about, just little pieces of the puzzle. The Scarlet Woman. Crazy information here. Are you ready? I, the Beast 666, am called to show this worship and to send it forth into the world. So this being, calling himself 666, is showing this worship and sending it forth into the world. The Scarlet Woman. By my woman, called the Scarlet Woman, scarlet means deep red, blood red, who is any woman. So the Scarlet Woman can be any woman. I showed you that a picture of the God there in the tattoos, the great God mentioned in the tarot card books. So the Scarlet Woman, who is any woman that receives and transmits my solar word and being, is this my work achieved? For without women, men have no power. Something from the Dennis working. So anyways, in Kenneth Grant's book, Chapter 11 of Crowley's Magic, original edition, so this Kenneth Grant has done an analysis of Aleister Crowley's book. And he says, entitled, Of Our Lady Babylon, and of the Beast whereupon she rideth, it begins. So we're mentioning a Lady Babylon, we're mentioning a Scarlet Woman, and we're mentioning the Beast 666 within the first sentence or two of this book. Insomuch as they concern Our Lady, are too important and too sacred to be printed. They are only communicated by the Master Therion to chosen pupils in private instruction. So the secret societies and cults, the real goings-on are not printed. It is not claimed that the contents of the present chapter constitute a private instructional mentioned in magic, but the following interpretation of the formula of the Scarlet Woman is based upon a study of the unpublished material which possibly formed the basis of such instruction. The adjective scarlet has reference to the draconian current upon which the new aeon, the new age, is based. It says it right here. The new age is based on the beast, the Lady Babylon, and the Scarlet Woman. The new age is based. For it is the color of Aries, Oris, or Horus, the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill, and on the post offices. I took some pictures in Cocoa, Florida. They have the triangle and the all-seeing eye right on the post office. Aries in the zodiac also represents the green man, the vernal power of the sun. Scarlet, the color of the flame, which initiates the annual venereal current that avenges itself upon the drought and darkness of the winter months. So I went on Yahoo image site and looked up some of those words on the image site to see what the pictures were. So starting out with the beast in Aleister Crowley's book, or this review of it by Kenneth Grant, The Hidden God. The Beast 666. And if you notice logos like CERN or other top corporations, if you pay attention to the logos, they have variations of 666. Cubes or whatever they do. But pay attention, even the Olympics logo and so many others, they have these symbols. So you can see the hand there in the center of this video with the microchip that they're putting in people these days. You can see the gun and the face and the guy, the fire 666, the mark of the beast. A lot of people know this stuff. The mark on the forehead. Again, Yahoo image site. You don't need to look at my shaky pictures. You can go there and put the B666 and look at these pictures. Apparently, the Beast. They have a computer system called the Beast. Apparently, probably hooked up to some kind of echo devices. Echo, what channel is such and such a program on? It's on channel 3 or whatever, however that Echo lady talks. So that's hooked up to apparently some kind of beast computer system, which will probably tie into all the microwave transmitter towers, which apparently can also be weapons. Just saying. The Lady Babylon, I looked that up on the Yahoo image site. You're not going to believe this. Remember who gave the United States the Statue of Liberty? The French Freemasons. So are they giving us another version of the Scarlet Woman or the Lady Babylon? Obviously, the things that they give us is part of the deception. Living on a planet where we are continuously tempted and we're supposed to try to escape this evil reality. We all see the symbols. I guess it's just comforting to kind of get an idea of what it's all about. And basically, it's about mental decision processing. The 10 Commandments are kind of obvious. Don't kill, don't steal, don't do adultery, don't covet, don't bear false witness, don't lie. And apparently, you have to try to stick to those. And then, of course, Jesus came and was crucified. And his sacrifice was for those people who would believe could be saved from this apparently crazy planet, crazy dimension, controlled by the underworld. Some people think we are in the underworld now. So you can look on these pictures and see what it has to do with the Lady Babylon. And then, of course, Lady Babylon, and here's I showed you the 666 beast, but I looked up the Scarlet Woman. And you've seen the Madonna and Beyonce and Lady Gaga and Katy Perry rituals and ceremonies, Super Bowl halftime shows. So apparently it looks a lot like that, some of them. And it says in this document that any woman can be the Scarlet Woman if they practice the rituals. So, crazy or not? All right, back to the book. Scarlet is the color of the flame which initiates the annual vernal current that avenges itself upon the drought and darkness of the winter months. Hence, I keep talking about December 21st, the winter solstice, being an important occult holiday when they do certain rituals. In another sense, scarlet equates to the red substance of female source, the prime menstruum of magical energy, and also with the negatory destructive aspects of lunar or black magic and witchcraft. Aleister Crowley. It is in this sense that the Scarlet Woman equates with Kali, the goddess of destruction. They put on the Empire State Building. Of course, the statue of Kali, Shiva, another goddess of destruction in the Hindu religion, is out front of CERN in Geneva, which apparently is the origin of the Frankenstein myth and also the homeland for the Illuminati for many years. And now they have CERN, the collider, and apparently there have been some anomalies with them opening up portals. And then we have Aleister Crowley communicating with beings from another dimension. Makes a little more sense. All right, destructive aspect of lunar or black magic and witchcraft. It is in this sense that the Scarlet Woman equate with Kali, who is primarily the goddess of stellar and lunar periods, hence of time. One of the first methods of telling time was by the periodic emanations of the female cynocephalus, which the ancient Egyptian priest used for this purpose. Time is the menstruum in which all material forms arise and transform and finally dissolve. Time. The best blood is on the moon monthly, says A.L. So I suspect A.L. is Aleister Crowley. This refers particularly to the Kali aspects of the formula. Best, that is, for works and dissolution or transmutation. Best, in other words, for magic or energy tending to change. I suspect a lot of people don't really want to know this stuff. If you want to know what's behind the new wide world religion, this is it. The name Babylon which is used to designate the office of the Scarlet Woman, differs from the apocalyptic version not only in respect to its orthography, but also to the following reasons. The biblical concept of the Scarlet Woman is already a corruption of the ancient magical tradition of which outside sanctuaries of initiation, temple prostitution, is the only remembered form. The tradition is best preserved in the doctrines of the Indian and Tibetan tantras, which describe ceremonies involving the use of callous medicines, which imbued the exudations of specially trained priestesses. The sweet-smelling ladies, Suvasians, have a more than literary correlation to the sweet-smelling perfume of sweat, spoken of by Aleister Crowley, 1-27. The formula of the Scarlet Woman is the formula of Sunavasini. Babylon, get this, I learn new things all the time here. Babylon means the gate of the sun. So behind the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill is the sun's rays. On the Obama logo was the sun's rays. Everywhere we look, Sun Bank, Sun Trust, Corporation, sun rays. So it's a Babylonian religion. That's why the all-seeing eye is on the dollar bill. Babylon means the gate of the sun. She admits the solar force through her gate, gut, cut, or cat, the pendula, the cat she is. So there's some notes from this author here. And again, I'm just reading this stuff and throwing my 2 cents in there. There's a point I want to get to here in a moment. No considerations of a mortal nature are implied by the terms black. So these people into the occult don't want you to consider any moral questions. I notice that all the time when I read this stuff. They don't take into account. There's no worries about a moral decision. To their God and their world, do as thou wilt. You can do no wrong. It's all a life experience. You can do whatever you want. Of course, I think there are repercussions when you leave this planet, where you might wind up in the next dimension, the underworld or the heavenly world. I heard a joke on the radio the other day, the John Boy and Billy show. Apparently, this senator was at a big party and he came out and stepped onto the road and a car hit him, killed him. Senator. So he pops up and he wakes up and he's in line at the pearly gates. He goes, "What happened?" Peter's there and he says, "Come with me." And the senator goes, "Well, can I get into heaven now?" And he goes, "Oh, no, we have rules here. You got to go spend 1 day in hell and 1 day in heaven and then come back to the gate and you get to choose." So he takes the senator to hell. And man, there's such a party and a buffet of food and it's just a wonderful day and he's all kinds of beautiful women and he's like, wow. And the day's over and Puppy pops back up there and St. Peter says, "Okay, you'll spend a day in heaven now." And he goes into heaven and everybody's at the altar on their knees and bowing and praising and worshiping God and the clouds and the angels and it's all serene. And the senator gets a little annoyed. Puffy winds up back at the gate. St. Peter says, "All right, what's your choice? Heaven or hell?" And the senator goes, "Well, I hate to say this, but I want to go to the underworld." Poof, he's there. And there's all these raging fires and pitchforks and suffering and pain. And the senator says, "Wait a minute, what the heck happened here?" And the devil says, "Well, when you came here, we were campaigning. Now that you're here, the campaign's over. This is the way it really is." If I told the joke poorly, but you get the point. So I thought it was funny when I was reading this material, and you hear jokes like that on the radio the other day. What is the reality? Should people be trusting all this information coming from the mind control forces of the media, the dark forces that cause all the death and destruction on the planet? Of course, it's a rhetorical question to anybody with a brain and common sense. You're going to go, no, I don't choose that. Hell is not going to be like those pictures in the gay parade I've shown, where the guy has a big sign that says, hell is fabulous. He says, I bet hell is fabulous. They're playing, they're deceiving us, and people are buying it. And I'm not trying to be a preacher. I think it's kind of funny, some of it, that I just hope I'm getting it right in life. So no consideration of a moral nature are implied by the terms black in this context. I wish merely to indicate the specific nature of the current employed. So apparently, this magic or this philosophy or this reality is a current in time. There is only magic, whether it is black or white, and the moral sense depends solely on the intent of the operator. We do not talk about black or white science. Those similar considerations apply. So you read these sentences and you think, science could be a great thing. But when they're weaponizing it with the microwave transmitters and AI, artificial intelligence, metadata, documenting who we all are, what we're into, and those who they want to probably categorize as useless human beings who won't go along with the New World Order, the resistors, the insurgents, the terrorists, the good guys, the Christians, the decent people will be called the terrorists. Just saying. I've had people tell me when I talked about this years ago, and I didn't know what I know now. They said, yes, Rick, we know there's going to be a destruction on the planet and it's going to get ugly, but we'll be dead by then. And a friend of mine said that to me while she was holding her daughter's daughter, her granddaughter, and I thought to myself, well, what about that little baby? Don't you care about that little baby? That little baby's not going to be dead. So again, it's all mental intent. Do we care or do we not care? I do sound like a preacher today. Sorry. Reading this book and it brings out the conversation in me. So these people into this Kabbalah, Zohar, magic, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it, alchemy, this Babylonian religion, they don't want to discuss the moral issues. There isn't any moral issues according to Aleister Crowley's The Book of the Law. Do as thou wilt. Do whatever you want. This is a life experience. If you want to harm somebody, do crazy things, Jack the Ripper type style, shootings, bombings, whatever, have at it. It's a life experience. Puts the Lord's Prayer into a new perspective. Lead me not into temptation and deliver me from evil. Makes you think twice about the Bible. Satan taking Jesus to the mountaintop and offering him the entire kingdom. And Jesus says, no, my kingdom there are many mansions. I don't want this. So what should we all decide? What Jesus decide? Or should we take the Satan up on his offer? Work for him and have this kingdom. Alright, the fourth letter, Y, is displaced by the letter A for reasons that are explained in due course. So apparently you can spell Babylon with a Y or Babylon with two A's. And then they got a book here about Hor, Apollo, book 115. So there's so much more I have to continue reading. But maybe I'm getting a fix on some of the truth here. I hope. Of course, the Bible says, seek and ye shall find. Ask and ye shall receive. And I'm asking for the truth, seeking the truth, and maybe it's being delivered to me. no matter how disturbing it is. I live in a town that has more breweries than any other city, and the music scene is like what Nashville used to be. And it's a nice place with all kinds of national forests and restaurants and music scenes and breweries. You can have a good time. You can get caught up in it. But I guess we have to pay attention. All right. The cat she is the moon, the sun reflected by the eye of the Armenta, the left eye of space, as the sun is the right. Thus the Velma Marg, literally the left path, or the path involving the use of women, the female being considered as the left or lunar aspect of creation, in contradistinction of the dark Dakshina Marg, which involves the solar current, the male or the right-hand aspect. In another sense, Varma Marg is the esoteric aspects of Tantra. So I believe Tantras are like invocations, mantras, different kinds of pronunciations of words, like the 72 names of God, that the Zohar or it's in the part of the Jewish Kabbalah religion. Apparently they have magical powers saying these names of these gods. 72 names. Of which the esoteric aspect of the dark Shima Marg, these distinctions have nothing whatsoever to do with white or black magic, as often and erroneously supposed. The name Babylon is numerically equivalent to 156. So remember, the way I check things out is with numerology. They add up the letters. A equals 6, B equals 12. There's several different kinds of numerology. C is 3 times A, 18. D, 4 times 6 is 24. And apparently the letters add up and equal different things. Like some people in their astrological chart, like me, are Aquarius. Some people are Scorpions. Some people are Leos. So all this Kabbalah, astrology, tarot cards and all that has something to do with numerology and frequency aspects of time and reality. Did you catch that? I don't profess to be an expert on that stuff, and I don't think I want to be. But the name Babylon is numerically equivalent to 156, according to this author, whereas the corrupt apocalyptic form, Babylon with a Y, totals 165, a number of no particular Kabbalistic significance. So here it's using the word Kabbalistic significance, and according to the Encyclopedia Judaica and videos I've made in the past, the Kabbalah was part of the Jewish religious cults throughout history. Mystery religion of Babylon. Numerology, astrology, tarot cards, magic. That's the new religion coming to the world that people are going to be forced to swear allegiance to. So 156, on the other hand, conceals many ideas relating to the function of the Scarlet Woman. For instance, it is the number of Zion, the holy mountain. So when I read that, I about fell out of my chair. So the Scarlet Woman, Babylon, is equated to the number of the holy mountain Zion, and Zionism is taking over the world. President Donald Trump just recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, fulfilling biblical prophecy. And the mark of the beast, we talked about it here. And the Scarlet Woman. Is this interesting? It is also the number of the city of the pyramids beneath the Night of Pan. the number of the city of the pyramids beneath the night of Pan. P-A-N. Isn't Pan some kind of goat demon god? Then you have pansexual, sex with anything. Pan-Germany, expansion. So I pay attention to these words, which may be entered and explored through the magical use of Babylon. So you can say the magical use of Babylon is the same thing as the magical use of alchemy, the magical use of Kabbalah, and all these mystery Babylon religion of all these secret societies and cults, which is the backbone of Zionism and these global world order coming at us like a freight train. The phoenix rising. The old world has to be destroyed to bring this new age, the age of Aquarius, to a reality. But of course, we are really spiritual beings. So I suspect my decision to believe that Jesus was the Savior and to believe that I should try to not break the commandments, hopefully it gets me saved from participating in this new underworld reality. I think I'd like to move on. It is also, according to Libra 418, the number of chaos. That's another one of Aleister Crowley's books, apparently getting information from that gray-looking alien called Iowas or Lamb, which is a concept of singular importance in the Kabbalah of Thelma, for it is the secret name of the beast. Babylon is thus identified with her true Lord. So I did go look up on the Yahoo image site Kabbalah Zion, because Zionism is the threat to the world today. It is the force of the Illuminati controlling the banking systems, the militaries, the 5G microwave transmission systems, the surveillance beast computers, AI, and all this other activity trying to bring about the global world order, which for all practical purposes is probably inescapable. But as a spiritual being, what you think up here is probably important. And even in the Bible it says, when these times come, don't be troubled. Because if you believe and you have faith in God, I mean, you're going to die anyways. Old age, some kind of ailment, machine gun fire, toxins, plagues, poisons, whatever they do. But apparently, if you're thinking right in the mind and acting right and speaking right, again, not trying to be a preacher, but this is I'm doing the research and I'm seeing these symbols and these sentences and paragraphs, and I'm seeing the results of the material I'm reading. I'm coming to what I would claim is a normal conclusion. Kabbalah Zion. You want to see the pictures? You can go on Yahoo Image and look them up yourself. It's going to tell you a lot. Kabbalah Zion. Are you comfortable with what I've been sharing? What Kabbalah is? Alchemy. Mystery religion of Babylon. The religion of the underworld. Fallen angels. Archons. You can see the New Age symbols. The six-pointed star on the Israeli flag. Apparently the underworld is represented by the lowest circle on that Sephiroth, the tree of life, in the center of the video. That would be the Markuth. Apparently in the Kabbalah, or this magic, alchemy, mystery religion, when you meditate on the tree of life, the Sephiroth, and you progressively meditate on the lower orb, you're meditating on the underworld, and somehow maybe you can communicate to it, like the psychics or channelers or prophets, whatever you want to call it. But as you move up, and apparently there's two paths on the Sephiroth, that tree of life. There's the light path of light to go to the Godhead, and the dark path to go to the Godhead. See, you can get there by good deeds, so they teach. Not necessarily what I believe. Or you can get there through evil deeds. Just trying to understand this stuff. And there is a comment section, if you can give me a tidbit or two for assistance, if there's some things I might have wrong, I would appreciate it. So the Kabbalah Zion, so we know there's a mountain in Israel, formerly Palestine. Things have changed, and it only took World War I, World War II, and 9/11, and an assassination of presidents and economic destruction like 8 times in the United States, and the Great Depression in America and the world, and all kinds of other chaos, anarchy, and destruction, and pain and suffering to get where they are today. Kabbalah Zion. See the sun's rays there on the top? So when President Donald Trump says that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, did he know what he was doing, or did he not? When people are part of the New Age, this religion of the underworld, and they want to turn away from Christianity, do they know what they're doing, or do they not? This was an interesting symbol here. Remember the serpent? So they have a symbol here of the pyramid with the snake and the Superman emblem. Are they really messing with us that much? Pictures do say 1,000 words. So that was the Kabbalah Zion. So I said to myself, I wonder if I switch those two words around, what am I going to see? So I looked up Zion Kabbalah on the Yahoo image site. And it gave me some slightly different results, but a lot of them were the same. The 6-pointed star on the Israeli flag. That apparently King Solomon had a magic ring with 6-pointed stars that he could call forth demons, apparently from the underworld. And apparently if you practice this magic and use the Kundalini and New Age, you can communicate with the underworld. And the lower level of that Sephiroth, that tree of life in the middle of this screen, is Malkuth, the underworld. That apparently is part of the Aleister Crowley's rituals. I use the word witchcraft because it gets the point across a little clearer. I don't like to fool around. Just say for what it is. The Kabbalah is witchcraft. Look at the gray alien. So, who's ready for the New World Order? Who's ready for being marked with a microchip? The mark of the beast, a cashless society, facial recognition system, tracking devices. They're already accusing us of producing too much CO2 and being the causes of global warming and climate change. So they need to bring about some new laws, which they're passing, for sustainability, austerity. Another word for communism, communes, and living in little tiny houses and having no car. A controlled zombie. That's my interpretation. So I looked up Zionism, Kabbalah, Kabbalah, Zionism, and all those other words as I'm reading this book here. the Aleister Crowley and the Hidden God by Kenneth Grant that you can find on archive.org. Get it yourself. Do what I'm doing. Read it. Highlight. When you see words or you don't understand, go to Yahoo Image Site or the internet. Look those things up. Take your time. See what you come up with. All right, let me read a little bit more from this crazy research material. Another important correspondence with the number 156 is the Sen HRU, a term used by the ancient Egyptians to denote the day of the summer solstice, when the eye of Horus, i.e. the moon, so the eye of Horus, i.e. the moon, is that what it represents? Was full and the year completed. The number 156 is therefore a perfect symbol of the magically inspired female, i.e. the Scarlet Woman. It is also her numerical formula, which is one of change and manifestation, Scorpio and Capricorn. The city of the pyramids is Benai, the third Sephirah of the Tree of Life. So we talked about Malkuth, which was the lowest sphere on the Tree of Life. And if you look at the top, in the center of this video, the Tree of Life, and you go down to the first straight bar, I think the one on the left is Benai. So to enter these different dimensions, apparently they meditate on that. Meditation, yoga, etc. So it would be one below the top on the left, Benai. Malkuth would be on the very bottom. It took me a while to try to figure this out. And again, you give me a little bit of a clue of information if you know, I'll read it and see if I can get a clearer perspective of what it is. It is referred to Saturn, and therefore identical with the earliest conception of the Generex, the final destruction of the knowledge of Darth. The false Sephirah opens the gate of the city of the pyramids. In another sense, the city of pyramids comprises the series of pyramidal sections, 156 in number of each, with the four sides of the watchtowers. Watchtowers? Now I'm reminded of the Jehovah's Witnesses. The watchtowers of the universe. See the diagrams based on Dr. D's researches on the equinox. So now I'm thinking about the equinoxes, occult holidays. When the sun goes to the furthest point south, it's the winter solstice. And when it comes back through the halfway mark, it's an equinox. So from the winter would be the spring equinox. And then when it gets to the midsummer, it's the summer solstice. Turns around the sun and hits the center again, the equinox. That's the fall equinox. And these four holidays, winter solstice, summer solstice, spring equinox, fall equinox, apparently are involved in this magic, kabbalah, Aleister Crowley's rituals, and Dr. D, another one of those magicians, involved with the changing of the languages, the pronunciations of words and spelling, so they would be more magically powerful. Did you know that? Dr. D. And other people into alchemy and the Kabbalah, magicians, witches, whatever you want to call them. They were working for the kings and queens, and they were doing prophecy and psychic activities and alchemy with chemicals, communicating with the maybe the underworld. bringing us the reality we all know that's described in the history of planet Earth. I'm just trying to figure out, WTH, what the heck is going on? Otherwise entitled The Vision and the Voice, it is Crowley's record of his exploration of the ethers by the Enochian system of John Dee. See the Equinox 1. The apprehension of the interchangeability of these symbols requires the use of a special kind of mental faculty, one which is capable of simultaneously distinguishing and identifying apparently disparate concepts. So it takes a lot of work to get your mind focused on this stuff, to become an initiate, to advance up to degrees, to be part of these secret societies, making it to the Illuminati and maybe beyond. The disparity exists only in relation to the mentality which conceives it. Once this is grasped, initiation becomes possible, and the mind transcends itself by means of reconciliation of opposites. Reconciliation of opposites. The Viscosomatra, probably said that wrong, says, so whatever that was, says, no worship is valid without women, sanctity, fish and meat. No worship is valid without women, sakti, fish and meat. Similarly, the Sajjada, a text declares, if you do not submit yourself to the Majora, woman, by simply rely on the theoretical knowledge of the thing, you cannot get Krishna by spiritual culture. Wow. According to the Manindrabose, the Sanajay do not use fish or meat in magic culture, but as regards the necessity of women, they have the same idea of the utility of a female companion as preached in the Tantras, sexual magic, sexual rituals, and a lot of evidence of sacrificing humans for their rituals and activities in these mystery Babylonian religions, kabbalah, alchemy, occult, witchcraft. An initiated tantric comment on the Vana Marg describes the Suvasiyas as sweet-smelling ladies selected to play the role of mother. They are to be sought as the one and only refuge. Even though as many as 16 ladies are chosen in one of the rarer forms of magic that appertain to this school of worship, the chief focal point is the woman, the one and only who is the Suvasanini. Crowley was working the same formula, and he explained the mechanics of it in his magical record. So what do you think? Crazy stuff? So here's this book. I got PDF on archive.com, Aleister Crowley and the Hidden God by Kenneth Grant. And on this next page, under the topic of the Scarlet Woman I've been reading from, is the Sephiroth, the Tree of Life. So if you want to try to understand the Jewish culture, the religion, apparently which is going to be forced on the world, apparently deities from the underworld. Just saying, that's my analysis. Leave this comment below if you disagree. You have an additional comment. You know as much as I know. I've been reading from the book and learning as I go. I pre-read this material So it's kind of interesting when I make a video, I get to read it again and discuss it and analyze it, dissect it, try to figure it out. The formula of the Eon 418 is not, as one might have expected, of Horus, the entity represented by the eye on the dollar bill, or the human with the bird head in the Egyptian hieroglyphics, but as Cleith, the chariot, the formula of going. It is the house of the moon, body of change. The balances of the soul are 666. He is ever a sun and she a moon. The scarlet woman is therefore lunar. I am the white and she is the red, of alchemical perfection. And my failure has been due to lack of her in whom all power is given. I had achieved my private initiation quite nicely, nimbly, but I have not been able to manifest in power for lack of her. So apparently they need to have this interaction with a woman to gain these powers, magical powers, complete these rituals. So there's this picture of the Sephiroth. It says the Benai is on the top left, straight bar. Down at the bottom is Malkuth. I've shown you the picture. So you could go on the Yahoo image site and type in these names of these different spheres. The top is the Kethar. I think that's the Godhead. The Chokmah is the opposite of the Benai. The Gerberon, or the cheese, the next straight row. The Tephara is the next middle one. The Hod, H-O-D, across from the Nazareth. And then down below that is the Yosod. So there's no doubt I have a little ways to go to try to get a better handle on this and explain it. But we learn a little bit at a time is the way to do it, I think. But again, we don't want to become part of the beast system. Certainly at the end times when they force this world religion on everybody, after they cause some huge amounts of chaos and anarchy and world destruction, and some being comes along and saves the day, part of biblical prophecy. And everybody will be forced to put a knee down to this beast, like the beast asked Jesus to get on his knee and offered him this planet. The magical record of the beast, 666, year 1920. That was Aleister Crowley's book. So I'm going to finish this video with that. I think that was enough for anybody to try to consume. And I think all in all, when you watch my videos, you can pick up on a few clues. And if you have any questions, you should have a pencil and a pad and take some notes. And if you go look up the material on the Yahoo image site by just looking at the pictures, 666 Beast, clicking those pictures takes you to links of different sites of different things you might be interested in. But beware, the two realities exist. The underworld, Hades, and heaven. Believe it or not, the senator was wrong in that joke I told. You don't want to go to Hades. Whatever you're trained to think or taught or deceived or propaganda, stuff in the media, the news, it's all deception. Thank you for watching my video, Rick Miracle reporting.